appear to be firing on all cylinders.
It's a gun, not a car. Of course, I guess if you have a revolver,
I fire on all cylinders.
not at once.
Ballistic Tourette's. It's a kid. You want to do stupid.
Not like us to back off things because it's spicy.
This was just a security guard got killed by
And then, what's that very last one? Feminism from military in general.
He tells him self-defense.
Yep.
And good morning. How we doing this morning?
I am hearing a fan.
My bad.
It's like what is that? Oh, that's right. We're hearing the fan. And that's how much we love you guys. We don't want that fan off.
Yeah, we do not want that fan off. That is 100% correct.
So apparently, we mistakenly scheduled the stream for 7 when it was supposed to be 7:30, our normal time. And Rob Hova was First Blood, but he's relinquished First Blood title to Steve, and now that's all it took. Now it's gone to Steve's head, and he demands that the peasants bow to him or some dumb shit. So, yeah. So good morning, Rob.
Yeah.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Pit Daddy. The most recent person to buy us a couple of coffees, guys. Be like Pit Danny, okay? Like this. You don't see because you're on that side of the camera, but there's a lot of shit in this basement. And the thing is, every time we replace one thing, like, you know how we were having sound problems for a few days? Well, it's because we got a new sound system, and the sound system just pushed too much juice for another piece of equipment that we were running. So then, of course, we had to figure out, okay, now how do we replace the piece? It never stops. It never stops. So, anyhow, Patricia Barrett has joined us. Good morning. And then there's Crackshot.
Crackshot asks, is any industry having labor shortages? Not having labor shortages? And Danny says, the government. That's God, that hurts me. It's true, and that's why it hurts.
Yeah.
And Rob says, I would drink government coffee. I've had government coffee. Yep, I have had government coffee. In fact, when I was in the shitbox, there's a reason that I had my wife and mother mail me coffee.
Look.
And my battle buddy Macareno down there was having raw coffee fruit shipped in and roasting some gourmet shit. Doesn't matter. We're under fire. Who cares? It's still, you still have time to do things correctly.
Well, I mean, it could be the last day of your life, so why not have a decent cup of coffee? If this is your last chance to have a decent cup of coffee.
It would either be chock full of nuts or some kind of Kona.
Right.
I'll tell you what it wouldn't be, Kopi Luwak.
I don't know what that means.
That's the most expensive coffee in the world. It's the one that has to be shat first.
Oh, The one where like a civet eats it but can't digest it.
Correct. So they ferment the coffee beans are fermented in their stomach juices before they defecate, and then humans go and pick through their feces to acquire the no. Give me raw fruit, roasted.
You know when other races make fun of white people for doing white people shit? That is some white people shit right there. Like
it's not actually.
No, I know it's not technically something that was invented by white people, but look, white people are the ones who pay $78 a pound for the bullshit.
Nope. It's most popular in places like Dubai. Yeah. Anyway.
That sounds like... Wait, hold on. Let's see. There was one of the... Scrimshaw Rose. Good
morning.
No, look, like, the first time I heard about that was one of those things I'm like, is this an Onion article? No.
Actually, Rob mentions I heard the same. They do the same with elephants. And I was just about to say, it's the first time I heard about it. I thought the same thing. I was like, is this an onion thing or something like that? And I actually, went down the rabbit hole a little bit, reading and studying on it. And there are several different animals and several different types of coffee that are actually produced that way. None of them are on my menu.
I understand. Like, and I'm pretty open-minded, okay? Like, oh, you get some fried rattlesnake chunks? Sure, I'll try that. But
I love me some gator tail.
Gator tail's not even in the same like class. Like it's gator tail's just chewy fish chicken,
There's also some chocolate that's done that way. I also haven't tried that.
But why? That's one of those. Rob Hova, the best part of waking up is an animal shitting coffee in your cup. Like, it's that, that Jeff Foxworthy joke about how, now after your wife's water breaks, do not have sex.
You'd be ashamed to waste this semi-private room.
And the only reason they tell you not to do it is obviously somebody's already done it. And it's the same thing. Like, who was the first person to go, I wonder what happens if I lick that toad? Or, man, this bastard just ate my coffee plant. I'll show him.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a reason that you don't want to do that after the water breaks. I forget the statistic. But it's higher than you'd think. About 15% of babies are born with teeth.
Okay, that's... Nope, I've got nothing. We just need to move on to the DGUs. Everything about that image, just no.
Robs, can you imagine following your cat so it can shit out your morning coffee? Dude, if I had a cat, we might just have to film one of us chasing him around with a cup of coffee.
No. No, see, cats...
Come back here. The Democrats told me you poop gold.
Oh, good morning, Poncho. Okay, we've talked about...
It's like the Sad Puppy Diaries where he talks about the cat and how it shits magic candy covered in sprinkles.
Okay.
Let's do the first one. You want to read this one?
Sure. I would love to. Okay. Story published August 22nd, 2029 at 9:16 p.m. Texas robbery victim shoots and kills suspect who pulled gun on him. You could tell already that this was written by somebody. This was written by somebody at Fox because the headline doesn't try and color your opinion about who the victim is that's not, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, the victim is the one that was actually in the process of being victimized by a crime. Not the one that committed suicide by law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's like, I'm pretty sure this is already going to be a squeaky clean shoot. Robbery victim shoots and kills suspect who pulled gun on him.
Yeah, that sounds
Do we even need... Let's read the story anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure this is going to be a short one.
a robbery suspect was shot and killed in the early hours of Friday morning at an apartment complex in San Antonio after pulling a gun on the would-be victim, according to local media reports. I like that language. The would-be victim. The temporary victim. A man was returning to his apartment at 3:30 a.m. when three males jumped out a car. Okay. Out a car in the parking lot and tried to rob him, Fox affiliate KABB reports.
You've neglected your preposition.
The victim refused to hand anything over and pulled out his own gun, then shot one of the suspects in the neck. Ow. The wounded suspect was described as a young man. Gee, nothing else about him, huh?
I'm sure.
I wonder what some other immutable characteristics he was in possession of were.
Perhaps he has some grammatical tells, like jumping out the car.
The wounded suspect, who was described as a young man who was transported to a local hospital in critical condition and later died from his injuries. So this is a DOT. He's dead over there.
You know what? I'll take it.
The shooting happened at an apartment complex in western San Antonio, Texas. Police did not respond to a request for comment on Monday about the two other suspects involved in the incident. They probably found Jesus. I'm just saying. They are probably rethinking their life choices to a high degree. And I don't know what else we could tell about them. And maybe we could make some assumptions about the type of church they would go to.
We could probably make some guesses about the kinds of job applications they're going to put in Monday morning, having realized that they need to rethink their lives.
So, like a 3:30 in the morning robbery, that is either an absolute bizarre chance robbery, or that's an absolute setup robbery. Because catching somebody going out to the bus, like if the bus comes by at 7:15 every day, and you rob them on the way to the bus, that's easy. In fact, there's a lot of crime that happens in daylight hours for those exact reasons. But the thing about 3:30 at night means everybody had to be awake. And what's the old joke? Said nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
I forget exactly what it is, but
That's it. It's just that. It's, a good rule to live by. Nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m.
Steve says San Antonio is where like half a dozen gun YouTubers live. Pretty bold of criminals to hit random folks in that town. I don't understand why there's robbery in Texas.
Well, there isn't much. There's a lot of attempted.
Okay. I don't understand why there is attempted robbery in
But you're correct. It's like, you get a lot of attempted robbery and robbery in Atlanta, but not in Georgia. Outside of that,
Well, you get the attempt.
not so much. That kind of trash tends to stick close to the city.
That's true. That's true. That's true. The cities.
He says not everyone gets the memo.
Willow Bar says it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that kind of trash it definitely sticks to the city. The cities, the places they want us all to live, because being
You've
piled,
lived into pod.
yeah, because everybody being piled on top of one another is completely how human beings are supposed to live. Like, cities would be death traps if it weren't for things like modern plumbing.
Yes.
Like, woo, we're supposed to spread out a little bit. There's a reason why early man enjoyed his earliest success by being hunter-gatherer. Just saying. Okay. What a name.
What is
Did you see the name of this? Lol, what? This might not be...
I think something has gone wrong with this article. We'll just
Just
ditch
say
that one and
goodbye.
move on to the next one. This one comes to us from the Sun-Times Wire from August 22nd of this year, out of Austin.
Again? What the hell?
Yeah. It's like, wait. Chicago police said, what?
But Austin?
Exchange of gunfire in North Austin on the west side, West Crystal Street. I'm confused here, guys. Not much story. A man with a concealed carry license shot and wounded an armed carjacker during an exchange of gunfire in North Austin on the west side early Monday. Man was in his car in the 5500 block of West Crystal Street when the carjacker fired on him around 1:25 a.m., Chicago police said. The man returned fire and hit the carjacker in the chest, police said. He was taken to Loyola University Medical Center in critical condition. His gun was recovered at the scene. The man with the CCL was not injured.
Well, good. That's why you carry, so you can avoid injury.
Okay, this is the Chicago Sun-Times. Apparently this was not in Texas, so I did not know there was a North Austin in Illinois. So we learned something today.
To be fair, there's a lot of weird shit going on in that, like, Chicago and sub-Chicago area.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, yeah, pretty simple. Hey, how did the dude get a CCL in anywhere near Chicago? That's what I'm confused about.
Chicago is one of those, or Illinois is one of those, if I understand correctly, is not a full-on May issue the way that New York and New Jersey used to be, but is still tougher than legitimate shall issue states, and obviously it's a lot stricter than those with the so-called constitutional carry, which, by the way, we've talked about how what is called constitutional carry is not actually constitutional carry, but it is a step in the right direction, and that step in the right direction has been taken now by more than half of the states.
Oh yeah, like that. I've got. I 100% agree. Like I kind of look down my nose a little bit at constitutional carry, but I do recognize that it is moving in the right direction. But no, obviously my point, my sarcasm was lost because there's not supposed to be guns in Chicago.
Right. Yeah.
That was where I was going with it, and you know, not to get right on the nose with it, but gosh, an armed citizen stopped a carjacking, huh? You think a guy with a 9mm hole in his chest is going to be carjacking anybody else soon?
Not this week.
Probably not. And Danny joined us, who happens to be in Georgia. I can feel your love with how close you are. It's amazing. And
I'll see you in like 27 hours.
And St. Michael of Sigrillo has joined us. That's
here for the show live this morning. Good to see you, Michael.
Yes, good morning. Okay. Next.
Okay, so hold on a second. Where the hell is this one from? Okay. Oh, this should be entertaining. You want to read this one?
Yes, please.
This one comes to us from Los Angeles and is dated the 20th. So just barely in our date range, but you take her away. I'm going to spin it up a little bit so they can read it for our viewers at home.
Okay, so KTLA. I was going to say KTLA 75, but nope. That's just how long. KTLA 5. Here we go. Homeowner shoots, kills intruder in Lincoln Heights. A homeowner shot and killed a man who allegedly tried to stab him outside his home in Lincoln Heights neighborhood of Los Angeles late Friday, police said. God, they love that allegedly word. An alleged homeowner shot and allegedly killed a man who allegedly tried to stab him out. Oh God, it's ridiculous. Officers responded to the area of East Avenue 28 around 9:40 p.m. on a report of shots fired during a home invasion. Authorities tell KTLA 5 the homeowner was in his front yard when the suspect approached him, walked onto his property, and charged him with a knife. Okay, so this is like shit your pants territory here. The homeowner opened fire, striking the suspect, who then fled approximately a quarter mile before he collapsed and died, police said.
You know what? Okay, so he didn't make it to the hospital. This is a tough call. Is that a DOT or is that a DRT?
I mean, he technically died.
He ran and died. I'm going to go ahead and say, since the police nor the paramedics managed to recover him and attempt to save his life, that wherever he fell is still part of the scene, and I guarantee it was included in the investigation. I'm going to give this a DRT.
I mean, I think it's close enough for government work, but you ever actually hit a deer in the kill spot, and they still make it a couple hundred yards before their brain catches up with the fact that their internal organs are no longer working?
Yeah, I've seen Arabs do it too.
That's not where The homeowner was not injured, and family members who were inside at the time of the incident were unharmed. It's not immediately clear if the homeowner knew the suspect, believed to be 30 years old, or if this was a clear case of self-defense. It's not immediately clear. It's not immediately clear if it was a clear case of self-defense. Man, do you know these people probably make more money than both of us put together to write this shit?
Yeah, and okay, it's not immediately clear if the homeowner knew the suspect, believed to be 30 years old, or if this was a clear case of self-defense. You know, it is entirely possible for two things to be true at the same time. For example, the homeowner could have known the suspect, could even have known the suspect for some time, had legitimate grievances, and even a proper motivation to murder the suspect, and the suspect created a situation which was also simultaneously one where the homeowner was in clear self-defense.
I mean, and I think when you come onto somebody's property and charge them with a knife, like we can assume there was drugs involved here, right? And I don't mean pot, right? Right? And I don't even mean mushrooms. I mean we went pretty deep down the matrix of drug levels for charging somebody with it, and then being able to run a quarter mile away.
Yeah, this maybe meth, or I'm sorry, maybe coke. Probably meth.
Maybe crack.
Maybe crack.
But yeah, just Jesus. I mean, wow. And the autopsy's going to come out and you're going to find out the dude actually died of a heart attack, not...
Right.
Not the gun. It hit him in like the shoulder.
He actually died of heart failure as a result of his drug use.
And then running.
Right. He didn't choke to death. He didn't stop breathing. He didn't die because he couldn't breathe. It was actually the drugs.
Yes.
Unlike any other case that I could think of off the top of my... Teen killed in a apparent self-defense shooting in Winnemucca,
Nevada.
Okay. Winnemucca, Nevada. Colo, a teenager, is dead following a shooting early Sunday in Winnemucca. Police said it appears to be self-defense. The Winnemucca Police Department did not immediately release the names of those involved. Police said they responded Sunday at about 12:26 in the morning to the Maverick at 605 West Haskell Street on reports of shots being fired. I'm going to assume the Maverick is the name of a bar or
something like that, yeah.
They arrived to find a 16-year-old boy had been shot by a 19-year-old male. The 16-year-old was taken to Humboldt General Hospital where he died from his injuries. We got a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old in a confrontation resulting in death. There are some assumptions that I'm willing to make here. People said witnesses and participants cooperated with the investigation. It appears the 16-year-old attacked the 19-year-old with a knife prior to the shooting. The preliminary investigation shows that this was an act of self-defense. That's going to get interesting in a courtroom because while it is... it sounds like there's a good case to be made that it's clear-cut self-defense, that the 19-year-old had a firearm to defend himself with is probably going to raise some red flags.
Yeah, but this is one of those things...
Shouldn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is one of those things where legally it might raise some red flags. And hell, this could even be maybe like a rival gang activity, but... It's the funny thing about rights. You have them no matter what. And you have the right to life, and therefore you have the right to self-defense. And if you're a total piece of shit, I mean, bad life decision, live by the sword, die by the sword. But at the same time, No one else has the right to deprive you of your life. Just period. Oh, well, you can vote at 18, but you can't buy beer, you can't buy tobacco, and you can't buy certain types of guns until you're 21. Get fucked. Like, that's...
Agreed.
Like, okay, fine. Then you can't vote until you're 21.
Trisha says Maverick is a gas station out in New Mexico. So I'm gonna take the logical leap. Nevada's not that far away from New Mexico, and so I would assume that means that it's regional out there. Probably.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that we could probably. Crackshot comes to us from New Mexico. Man, so that means these people are getting up at like 5:30 in the morning to watch us.
Hell yeah.
Or they're still awake from the night before.
If it helps, I was up before 5:30 to set the show up.
It's not the same thing. We're dedicated to this. They don't have to be.
But we appreciate that they are.
Yes, indeed. But again, just to really, really put a button on it, okay? Rights are rights are rights are rights are rights. If the biggest piece of shit in your society doesn't have certain rights, your rights are a lie, an illusion, period. So go ahead.
Okay, so Rob says, well, each state has different considerations about these rights, which is why these matters need to become federal, and I rarely say that. So here's the thing about that, Rob. This matter is federal. That matter is federal. And we made that decision a very, very long time ago when we ratified the Constitution of the United States of America. Every signatory to that document agreed that there would never be a law which restricted the right of a person to keep and bear arms. Every single law related to firearms, whether it regulates their design, their construction, their sale, even their use, even the use of firearms cannot, under the Constitution, be restricted by law.
Yeah, who was it that they asked, either Adams or Jefferson? It was one of the ship captains with the Pirates of the Barbary Coast that were like, "Hey, look, I know we're just merchants, but we're tired of getting robbed. Can we mount?"
I think it was Madison that wrote the letter and said,
"Well, can we?
Why are you asking me?"
Yeah, can we mount cannons to our ships for self-defense? And the reply they got back was, "Well, yes, you can, but why did you feel the need to ask? we thought it was pretty clear. Like, no, you're allowed to have guns. You're allowed to have cannons. If it goes boom, you're allowed to have it. And really, if it is a weapon of any kind, it doesn't say the right to keep and guns shall not be infringed. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The founders did that on purpose. Oh, they never foresaw a day. Well, what happens if we actually get laser guns? You think the founders would be okay with that? Yeah, not only would the founders have been okay with it, they would have used it to decimate British soldiers.
Absolutely.
Like, it's... But anyhow, oh yeah, the puckle gun, man. The puckle gun.
The puckle gun.
Talk about ruining somebody's day. Woo! Talk about ruining a whole lot of people's days. They didn't have machine guns back then. Yes, they did. They were just hand cranked.
Correct. And there was some shit back then that you don't. There were things back then that worked like shotguns, except instead of being a whole crap load of rounds loaded into one barrel, it was one round loaded into each of a whole crap load of barrels.
Oh yeah, like the puckle gun where you could just kill like 20 ducks at once across the entire pond. Like, woo, that was not the one you wanted, son. Not at all. And Pit Danny agrees. This arms equals all weapons. Yes, that is absolutely 100% correct. They did that on purpose. And Steve says prohibition is responsible for the gun control madness. Fools allowed it to happen. Crooks have broadened it. Steve, that's a thing that we've talked about in our internal chat.
You're right, Steve. The 19th Amendment was a mistake.
You stole my joke, you son of a bitch. I was going right there. anyhow, there's a lot of those amendments in the teens that were a terrible idea that completely changed the nature of man and government in this country and just, woo.
You mean like prohibiting alcohol or preventing Donald Trump from being God Emperor for eternity?
I'm not gonna. All that is farce. I have no idea to what amphibious priapism you may be referring to, sir.
Oh no, I'm referring to a specific constitutional amendment that limited his opportunities to run for president over and over and over and over and over and over.
That's actually one of the few that I agree with. If you go back and you and that one's not one of the teens either. That one came because of FDR. Because once he died,
that one's 20.
Yeah, because once FDR died, like, and the scales fell off of people's eyes, they went, holy shit, let's not do that again. Hey, let's have the pro-feminism story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's do this.
The other one. The other pro-feminism story. We actually have two feminism stories.
Yeah, two feminism stories. And here's why we call them feminism stories, okay? If you are a feminist and you are for gun control, you're a shit feminist. Period. End of sentence. You want absolute equality? Hey, guess what? God made man, and Sam Colt made him equal. Done. Done. Everybody responds to 9 millimeters of force exactly the same way. Ow, no, stop. Like, just is what it is. Can you switch us over? Oh,
I think so. There we go.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, hey, look. Look over here. Somebody hit the boss. That means we got a new subscriber.
Nice.
While we were live. Rock and roll.
That's awesome. I didn't know what that meant.
Thanks, Vaughn.
All right, so pro-feminism story. Woman shoots husband in self-defense following assault. Now, before we go any further...
This one comes out of LaGrange. That's right up the street from us.
Right down the street.
Well, whatever. It's
LaGrange is south. It's like 90 miles south, so... Anyhow.
Well, if we were in Maine, we could go down east. That's just the way words work. It's a stupid state. But it's pretty.
Yeah, like 2 months out of the year. The rest of it is just white.
No, 2 months out of the year, it's just a different pretty.
LaGrange police say a female was able to free herself after being physically assaulted by her husband and shot him in self-defense. On Friday, August 19th, 2022, around 9:40 p.m., officers from the LaGrange Police Department responded to a call regarding a person being shot at the 106 Lock Court in LaGrange. When officers arrived, they found Charles Anthony Shields, who resides at this location with one gunshot wound to the upper torso. He was immediately transported by emergency services to a trauma center to receive treatment. You know, one of the big things about that federal law that says if you're ever convicted of any type of domestic violence, even misdemeanor domestic violence, and you do not later get that record expunged, you can never own a firearm again. Well, they say it's because, well, if there's a gun in the home where there's an abuser, the victim is just so much more likely to get a bad case of the dead. And yet, here we are, your potential victim, there was a gun in the home, and gosh, it is what it is. And we talked about this with the Schmeck guy, the dude with 8 hits out of 10 rounds at 40 yards in a crowded mall.
Yes.
Okay, we talked about it. Even if he wasn't trained, even if he was just some Joe Blow. Elijah, thank you.
Schmeck is the guy that said, let's go Brandon to Biden. Elijah.
Well, anyhow,
roll on.
We talked about that with him, where even if he was just some Joe Blow, Elijah Dickens, thank you.
Dushku was Faith.
Yeah, even if he was just some Joe Blow, where he bought the gun and got lucky, you deserve that chance. Human beings are capable of amazing things when they realize, no, I have to accomplish task X or I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Anyhow, I promise I'll finish reading the story without interrupting myself if you'll let me.
Okay.
The Criminal Investigations section responded and took over. Their investigation revealed that Charles Shields, who was physically assaulting his wife, Quenisha Shields, during an altercation at the home. During the physical assault against Quenisha Shields, she retrieved a gun and shot Charles Shields once in the torso. Police say this was self-defense. I'm going to guess with a name like Charles Anthony and Quenisha, they're not white, and I'm absolutely okay with that. During the physical assault against Quenisha Shields was then able to flee this location and contact authorities. I'm about to run out of story. Thank you. LaGrange police say warrants have been issued for the arrest of Charles Anthony Shields for the offenses of false imprisonment, battery, criminal damage to property, theft by taking, and interference with a 911 call. So it sounds like they were having an argument, and it went way bad. And I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm just saying they were having an argument, and it went way bad. No charges have been made against the person of Quenisha Shields. This is an ongoing investigation, and more charges could be pending for the person of Charles Shields. At the time of the incident, Charles Shields was on felony probation for prior aggravated assault. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes.
Yikes
okay.
on all the bikes.
Yeah, yikes on several bikes. Well, I mean, we've kind of already said it, but I'm just going to say it one more time to really punch it home. Like, this is your feminism. You want the equality. You want the abusive men to stop. You want everything about your narrative to come to a satisfactory conclusion. Arm your women. Period. Just arm them. Oh, how would you feel if more black people had guns? Quenisha had a gun, and I'm great with it. Okay? And there might be more to this story. Hell, Quenisha might have picked this fight. We don't know. But what we do know is what the cops are telling us is that this was self-defense, and she shot the dude that was assaulting her. And false imprisonment, interfering with a 911 call, there's a lot going on there. You can read between those lines. That was terrible. Okay? So anyhow, if you really are a feminist and you support gun control, you are an absolute shit feminist. All right,
Yes.
we're 8 minutes past. Are we?
We are. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's the weekend, guys. We're going into...
Oh, Steve, the Pink Pistol Gay Gun Rights Group have it right. One motto is, armed gays don't get bashed. You're damn right.
Yeah.
You are damn right, son. Like, armed people have a tendency to not be victims. It just is what it is. And St. Michael of Cigarillo says, as long as you legally obtain the gun, I don't care what race, ethnicity you are. Here's my one problem with that, okay? Just one. They keep trying to restrict the definition of how you legally obtain that gun.
Correct.
And again, you know, you're 22 years old, you get into a bar fight, and you get charged with aggravated assault, and you're young and dumb and don't hire a good lawyer and end up with a felony record for the rest of your life, and now it's 15 years later and you're not allowed to have a gun in the home to defend your family? Bullshit. Bullshit. At some point, the debt to society is paid. If you're on probation for 5 years and you can't have a gun for that 5 years, even that I'm not entirely comfortable with, but you are on restriction, as it were. You are grounded, okay? But once you're no longer grounded, that's the thing about not being grounded anymore. Now you can go hang out with your friends, and it should be the same thing. It's awful. Patricia says, get a pardon. I don't think you should have to do that, because you essentially have to go back to the government and say, can I have my rights back? And it was never supposed to be that way. ever. Ever. The assumption was the government had to prove it could take your rights away. And if the government took your rights away, it had a time limit on how it could do it and everything associated with it. There was never supposed to be anything permanent apart from the death penalty and some extreme cases of life sentences. Everything else, like the founders, as long as you weren't criminally insane, even if you were an ex-criminal, nope, you're allowed to have a gun. So anyhow, please,
believe it or not, criminals can be mauled by bears.
Oh, see, but you made a mistake once, so you're not allowed to protect yourself from that
survive
bear
anymore.
That's right, yeah. In fact, and let's be real clear, you got caught making a mistake once, so you're not allowed to protect yourself anymore. All those other people that didn't get caught or get convicted of making a mistake, well, they're still allowed to own guns. But the system's bullshit. Anyhow.
And Alex, if somebody gives the rights back, they go and commit a mass murder, people will be asking, that's not an argument for gun control. That's an argument for capital punishment. Now, that said, it is the weekend. There's some stuff going on this weekend over at Legion Field tomorrow from noon to 4, like Danny mentioned earlier. I believe it's DJ Scotty and the Just for Fun crew are hosting a March Against Meth event. And again, that's Legion Field in Covington from noon to 4. I'll be there for a little while tomorrow. I've got some stuff going on with the kids first thing in the morning, so I don't know what time I'm going to be there. Probably closer to 1. And then this evening, there is a concert at the American Legion in Loganville. I'll be there for a while this evening. And then tomorrow evening, there's a bunch of other stuff going on, and y'all won't be able to find me unless you got the address, because my ass is going to be hitting the couch hard by then. I'm about to run out the door in just a minute to go do an interview, which you will all very much enjoy, I think, that should be available sometime next week. And so, yeah, we're going into the weekend. Y'all be safe out there. Keep calm and carry one. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. And return fire before it gets to you. Incoming fire has the right of way. Make sure you shoot first. Know you're right. But stay alive. Because, somebody's got to buy the coffee. We love you, and we'll see you Monday.
You remember one of the... Oh, I'll wait. I'm waiting.
And we're clear.
Oh, okay, good. Now I can...
Okay, do you want the...
No. Do you remember one of the very first DGUs we ever did?